Well, hi, good evening, all of you. I am Nishant, and welcome to a new episode of Arguably the Reading Quest. Socrates says that an unexamined life is not worth living. Philosophy for Plato is a kind of vision, says Bertrand in his History of Western Philosophy. I again repeat, philosophy for Plato is a kind of vision, the vision of truth. Everyone who has done any kind of creative work has experienced, in a greater or a less degree, the state of mind in which, after long labor, truth and beauty appears or seems to appear in a sudden glory. It may only be about some small matter or may be about the universe. I think most of the best creative work in art, in science, in literature, and in philosophy has been the result of such a moment. And it is the search for something permanent that has led people to study philosophy. So, in this video, guys, I would like to introduce you to 5 easy reads on philosophy to whom philosophy has always been an intimidating subject or too academic, too technical, and sometimes tedious, if not difficult. So, there was a very famous German psychiatrist and a pioneer in existential philosophy, Karl Jaspers. So कार्ल जैस्पर्स ने एक बहुत ही खूबसूरत सा थियोरी दिया था दैट वाज कॉल्ड द थियोरी ऑफ एक्सियल एज. उसमें कार्ल जैस्पर्स ने ये बताया था कि दुनिया में 4 इंडिविजुअल हुए इन द हिस्ट्री ऑफ ह्यूमैनिटी, द बर्थ ऑफ हुज लेड टू द डिवीजन ऑफ मैनकाइंड इनटू 2 different parts. And those 4 individuals, he gave an adjective that is applied only to those 4 individuals alone in the whole history of humanity. और वो adjective क्या थी? That adjective is called paradigmatic. So he called those 4 individuals the paradigmatic individuals, the birth of whose led to the division of the world into 2 different parts. Before the birth of Jesus and after the birth of Jesus. Before the birth of Socrates and after the birth of Socrates. Pre-Socratic philosophy and then every philosophy till date is Socratic philosophy. We haven't progressed much beyond Socrates and Plato. And then 2 greatest individuals, 2 paradigmatic individuals were from Asia. I guess you must have guessed the name. If not, I insist you pause the video here for a while. Just take a quick random guess. So of course, one is Buddha. The world was divided into 2 parts, before the birth of Buddha and after the birth of Buddha. So Asian philosophy is divided into 2 parts. It is pre-Buddhist and post-Buddhist philosophy. And then one was from China, that is Confucius. So in this video, I'll introduce you to 3 individuals, not Jesus. For Jesus, I'll be making a separate video, and including some more Stoic philosophers. So the first book that comes to my mind, of course, is the Dhampad. Dhampad is a very central text in the Buddhist school of philosophy, and it talks of the nature of self, the value of relationship, the importance of moment-to-moment awareness, the destructiveness of anger, the suffering that attends attachment, the certainty of death, and such spiritual quest. And no spiritual texts speak to these human consciousness more profoundly and more clearly than does Dhampad. So there are 423 small verses here, and in a very freshly written translated prose. So this is I have bought on the Modern Library, and it is translated by Glenn Wallis. Dhampad on Modern Library. I'll give a description in the description section itself. I'll try to put an Amazon link as well. So before initiating yourself into reading some secondary and tertiary text on Buddhism, why not read the Dhampad yourselves, and then see what it has to offer. Dhampad is an iconic text. Then another name that comes to my mind, of course, by another paradigmatic individual, that is Confucius. The Analects of Confucius. I have a little higher priced edition. I have bought it at a publication of the University of California Press. You may not go for such. You shouldn't go for such uh, costly editions. You can go and buy it, at Oxford or at, let's say, any other publication will do. The Analects of Confucius. So the Analects are, texts that are clarifying Confucius' positions on ethics, politics, and social organization, ठीक है? Allowing the readers to have a enriching understanding of Confucius' historic and heroic attempt to restore the order and morality to the government at large. And no wonder Confucius has a lasting imprint on the Occidental sphere, on the culture of the Occident. So please read Analects by Confucius. Then none other than Plato's Selected Myth. Selected myth is a compendium of myth that Plato invented through his writings. Plato was also an ardent myth maker, though he was against myth, but he drive home many of his philosophies through myth. One most popular one is from his book Symposium, and that was quoted by Milan Kundera in his iconic novel The Unbearable Lightness of Being. So Milan Kundera quotes it, and I try to paraphrase it, if not verbatim. He suddenly recalled from Plato's Symposium that people were hermaphrodites until God split them into two. And now the one part keeps on searching for the other part. So love is nothing but the longing of the half of ourselves that we have lost. A very profound quote on love. So, and the allegory of cave and all such myth. So one is the very famous allegory of cave. One is, the people were hermaphrodites and God split them into two. And then love is the longing of the half of ourselves that we have lost, and all such myth. So Plato Selected Myth, this you can buy at Oxford Classics. So this will initiate you into the writings of Plato. And I hope it is very captivating to hold your attention. Another book needs no introduction. It is Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius was a Stoic Roman emperor who was also a philosopher and who published Meditations, and who tried to struggle to make sense of himself and make sense of the universe. So it contains, snippets of wisdom, very short writings, and mostly quotable quotes, so you can enjoy it while traveling in a metro or traveling in a bus, in a train, or when you are not indulged in very serious reading. If you want to read something lighter but equally effective, so you can read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Another Stoic writing that I would like to introduce you to is the Discourses and Selected Writing by Epictetus. Epictetus was a slave, a Greek Stoic and a free slave, who happened to be in the early 2nd century AD. And then the discourses argue that happiness lies in learning to perceive exactly what is in our power to change and not what is not, and in the embarrassing our fate to live in harmony with God and nature. So this is your personal guide. This can be your personal guide to happiness, to stoicism, to moral improvement. Okay, to shed some light on tackling the questions of freedom, imprisonment, illness, fear of old age, family, friendship, and love. So I hope these 5 books will initiate you into philosophy, apart from the other philosophy videos that I have done. This is for the one who wants to read philosophy for pleasure, reading philosophy for pleasure. That is all for today, guys. If you have still not liked, shared, and subscribed my video, Arguably the Reading Quest, my channel, Arguably the Reading Quest, please do that. Please spread the word. Happy reading, all of you.